Hey, welcome to Dakich Breaks It Down. We're going to do this every week. We're going to talk about basic college basketball, why things are happening. And in this one, I don't need a ball. Evansville beat Kentucky. Butler is really good. Purdue is not very good. And Indiana, well, quite frankly, they've played basically the five of us here, so we don't know if they're really good. But I'm going to tell you a couple of things. Why Butler is really good and why Evansville beat Kentucky. And they're kind of the same thing, and it's all defensively. You want to make the opponent uncomfortable. What does that mean? That means when somebody's dribbling against you, you want them on their heels. That means they've got to work so hard to get an open shot that even though a shot looks open, it's rushed in the player's mind. That's good defense. Again, you're not stealing every pass. You're not taking every dribble. You're speeding the offense up and making them uncomfortable. What does that have to do with Evansville and Kentucky? What does that have to do with Butler? I'll tell you, when I watched Evansville play Kentucky, far more athletic. But you know what Evansville was able to do? Get very comfortable. Dribble the ball, pass it to the next guy, throw it whatever they wanted. You know what Kentucky didn't do? They didn't put Evansville on their heels. The other night, I'm watching Butler and Wofford. Wofford's a good team, not a great team, but a good team. Butler was up 16, 18, all that kind of stuff. Next thing you know, it got to 10. You know what Butler started doing? They started getting down in a stance. They started getting their hands out in front of them. They started getting really active on the basketball. You know what Wofford did? They started dribbling like this. They started passing unsure. There was no whoop, I'm gonna go by you and lay it in. Simply because Butler did a simple thing. Stance, use their quickness on the ball with their hands. When you watch Butler basketball this year, watch for that. Let me go back to Evansville and Kentucky. You know what Kentucky didn't do? Kentucky never got in a stance. They never used their length. They never made Evansville back up. Evansville didn't play great. Evansville didn't shoot 10 of 12 from the three-point line. They were able to drive it whenever they wanted. They were able to pass it wherever they wanted. They were very, very comfortable. Purdue's struggling. One of the reasons Purdue's struggling is because, well, quite frankly, they don't have Carson Edwards and they're looking for somebody that can make a bucket. And if you watch the Texas game, they were throwing the ball off their own knees, going out of bounds like 3 straight times. They'll figure that out. The metamorphosis of Purdue, though, is all defense. And you will see after the first of the year, Purdue get in a stance, deny passing lanes, and make opponents uncomfortable. Dan, why after the first of the year? I'll tell you, because from the time Christmas break starts until just after the first of the year, coaches can have players in the gym all day. The metamorphosis of Purdue always happens then. Dan, tell me about Indiana. Indiana plays more of a pack line defense. They kind of play around the top of the key and force you to shoot jump shots over them. Now, Indiana, for them to be a good defensive team, they just simply have to do the old fundamental. Keep the defender between the ball and the basket. But I'm telling you right now, Butler's going to have a really good year. I think Purdue will get better, and I think Indiana will be pretty good because they all have coaching staffs that understand how to play defense. You already seen it. You let a team get comfortable, you get beat. And that's the number one team in the country. Kentucky gets beat by an Evansville team. That's just so-so. But when you're watching, watch the defensive pressure, and you can tell in the first half who's going to win by who's more comfortable on offense.